A revolutionary. Say whoa. Trap revolutionary. Got the wave of too scary. Doing this thing like Malcolm ain't by any means necessary. We ain't got it by no one seen hand. We got the master plan. Get the move.
What's going on, y'all? Y'all want to do this video real quick. Just talk about, being in peace. And how I think some of the things that's going on, like even like right now, disturb our peace, and to expound on a further conversation, I had in a prior video where I was talking about how I honestly believe certain things are being done to kind of get us off of or out of our our peaceful state of being. And I was even telling somebody else, telling a friend of mine, like I think that some of these things we are facing, some of the things that are going on are playing. Seems like they're playing. So, it's a recurring pattern because we already, know what I talk about Nolan Wells situation, T.J. Davis, Denoris Richardson, man, Travion Reed, they call him Trey, found hanging or whatever on Delta State University campus, and so many others, so many other things that happens, right? And I was just saying, like, man, it seems like these things continue to occur, and it's to keep us in a certain state of trauma. So, and just from maybe even I talked about Emmett Till, from that point, or just going even beyond that, to keep us in a certain state of trauma, a certain state of terror, to where we're not able to ever, go beyond a state of survival to a state of becoming and a state of, excelling and, actually understanding our true spiritual selves. So, we're not at peace. Like, man, it's just a lot of things that, has happened to us, individually, even I can say even on a group level. It just is, it's traumatic, so, and I think that we have to understand that and recognize it, because I know a lot of us, and even me, I'm like very upset, hearing about Nolan Wells, and then some, one guy, he related it to Emmett Till's situation, like basically Nolan Wells was a rebirth of Emmett Till, and they had similar birthdays and days they died. It's a lot of connection to it, like on the spiritual level, even with dealing with the numbers, 70 years since, almost like a 70-year period since what happened to Emmett Till and what happened to Nolan Wells, and then 7 plus 0. You just say like the numbers, you break it down, supreme mathematics. 7 plus 0. You want to say it's like the number of God, symbolizing God and being born again or whatever, right? And it's kind of like in that sense, he was saying that, well, Emmett Till had basically in Nolan Wells, like it's a rebirth of that spirit, and that spirit had to die to be able to, basically go beyond and this physical realm and finally reach a state of rest, to where that cycle will be broken, right? Whether you want to say that's true or not, that's fine, right? But I do know that certain things we are experiencing it's a planned or programmed, like a programmed theme, a programmed process and, events that are, engendered or brought about to cause us a traumatic response, a trauma, and just a response that, keeps us from actually reaching, like I said, our true selves, our spiritual selves, and going beyond a state of survival to a state of becoming, and a state of, reaching our full potential, our spiritual potential, because we're like basically locked into this trauma. And so we don't get a chance to expand or like excel beyond the physical, realm, so, even like I mentioned, like being in the matrix, like people say the matrix, but like it's serious than just saying it's a matrix. Like it's a true, it is a true form of bondage that's been, that is being forced upon us, so we have to recognize it and really understand that, hey, our people are being targeted in that sense, because I know if we do actually realize our true sense of being, our true spiritual selves, our true nature, and being able to reach that higher self, man, it's what we would do is profound. We're beyond profound, beyond prolific, beyond extraordinary. We will reach the level of being God, being with God, acting and actually moving, like gods, so that is why, we have the spiritual capability, because our people have always been closely connected to God, our God selves, we will reach that. So, I had to get on here and say that, because I know that this is what's going on, and we have to, get out of this state of trauma. This is what's going on, man, and we have to find a way to defeat it. So, I had to get on here and say that, because, like I said, I want to expound further on the situation with Nolan Wells, because this is what's going on, and I'm here like a message, just making my people aware of it, and even people that's not black, making us aware, man. This is what's going on. People say the Matrix, but like this is a it's not just a matrix. It's a level of bondage, that we're being, like I said, locked into, that we need to escape out of. So we have to, especially as black people, we definitely have to find a way to break up out of it. And I would say, like I said before, it's becoming aware. This is what's going on. These things are being forced upon us, and we have to recognize, so we don't get caught up in that. You know what I'm saying? From the way we act, from the way we move, like everything. We got to make our people aware, you know what I'm saying? And the fact that, if you out there, man, like make sure, you don't put yourself in harm's way. That's the best way I can put it. Or let your people, get in harm's way. You know what I'm saying? So something to end up, impacting them negatively. So that's what I would say, man. And but we have to come together and defend ourselves against. And this is one way to recognize it, and like I said, and not put ourselves in harm's way. And then, on another level, form a bond with each other, all of our people, so we can protect ourselves. You know what I'm saying? Because we can't allow abuse, or to be harmed, blatantly harmed, or harmed with impunity, or someone just harming us with impunity, or any repercussions behind it, so that has to be understood as well, But anyway, I just want to say that, because I had to, I said, further expound on the issue with us, and and what's going on, and recognizing that, you know what I'm saying? Even me, just with this situation that's going on, I'm recognizing and picking up on it. You know, this is traumatic response, and we're being locked into this response, you know, so we cannot, you know, rise above, you know, and reach that true higher self, you know. But anyway, I'm gonna get up out here. Just want to say that, you know, I hope y'all out there doing well, living life for the love and happiness. You know, doing great, you know, striving greatness every day. You know, I appreciate y'all liking, sharing my videos, comment on videos. And like I said before, you know, we can agree or disagree. If we disagree, we can hash it out, you know. I'm always be respectful towards y'all, just ask y'all be respectful towards me. But until the next one, y'all, I love y'all. All right, y'all.
Fuck it, go ahead and blow off the dough. Step through the maze, man, and became amazing. About to rewrite history and change a page in a crooked book that never told us the true story. Like how we were kings and queens before the slave story, before the killing, stealing, and drug dealing. On some real shit, we ran the world.